Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're immersing ourselves in a really significant moment for digital assets, what they're calling Crypto Week in the United States. And it's not just any week. I mean, it kicked off with Bitcoin hitting an absolutely incredible new record high, first
Yeah, and
$120,000.
then it just kept going.
Right. Surged again to $122,055 on Monday. I mean, that's a huge milestone. Sets the stage perfectly for, well, everything we need to talk about today. So our mission here is to unpack what Crypto Week really means, why it's so important, pivotal for the whole digital asset industry, and how it ties into the bigger economic and political picture. We're aiming to give you a clear sense of the regulatory framework that, crypto insiders have wanted for such a long time. Our deep dive today, it's based on a really comprehensive Al Jazeera article, so you're getting a focused, well-researched view on this whole fast-moving area. Think of this as your shortcut, your guide to getting up to speed without getting totally overloaded. We want those aha moments for you. Okay, so let's start with that incredible market surge. Looking at Bitcoin's journey, it's just, well, remarkable, isn't it? From basically nothing, like 0.0004 when it started trading back in January 2009. And now, this week, $122,055. That's a 29% increase just this year. It's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. And what's fascinating, while Bitcoin obviously grabs the headlines.
Always does.
Yeah, exactly. But this isn't just a Bitcoin story. The ripple effect across the whole digital asset space is just as compelling. You mentioned Ether, the world's second biggest token. It also hit a 5-month high, $3,048.02 on Monday.
Wow.
And if you look bigger picture, the whole sector's market value, it's ballooned to roughly $3.8 trillion, according to CoinMarketCap. So this widespread surge, it really shows these assets are becoming, well, more mainstream.
And it's against this backdrop, this huge market value, that Capitol Hill is having its own big moment this week. They kicked off Crypto Week. Started officially July 14th, 2025. The U.S. House is debating 3 industry-friendly bills. The big goal, the overarching goal, is to finally get a clear U.S. regulatory framework in place, something the industry's been asking for loudly.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, I mean, this legislative push, it marks a really sharp reversal. Because not that long ago, the sector was, well, openly talking about taking its business outside the U.S. They felt the environment was pretty hostile.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah. And this shift, it's heavily influenced by President Trump's call to revamp the rules, kind of move away from all those lawsuits the SEC brought against crypto firms under Biden.
The SEC being the main financial watchdog.
Exactly, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So moving away from that towards a more, let's say, industry-friendly approach.
Okay, so what are these key pieces of legislation, the ones the industry is watching so closely?
Well, the first one is the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. Everyone just calls it the Genius Act.
Catchy.
It is. And its main goal is to clarify when digital assets count as securities versus commodities. Now, this distinction, it's critical.
Why is it so critical?
Because securities fall under the SEC's strict rules, much heavier investor protection stuff. Commodities regulated differently, often with, well, more flexibility. But the real insight here, I think, isn't just about avoiding lawsuits. It's about potentially unlocking this huge wave of institutional money, capital and talent that's been sitting on the sidelines because of the uncertainty.
Ah, okay. So it's a signal.
Exactly. It's a clear signal to the global crypto world that the U.S. is serious about being open for business in this space.
That makes sense, the institutional angle. What else is on the docket? What are the other bills?
Next up is the Clarity Act. This one would basically block federal agencies from using court rulings to sort of stretch their regulatory power too far. It wants to make sure Congress, not the courts, defines how crypto is classified and governed.
Okay, keeping the power with lawmakers.
Pretty much. And then there's the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act.
CBDC, central bank digital currency.
That's the one. This bill is designed to stop the Federal Reserve from issuing its own digital currency.
And why is that? What's the concern?
The core concern really is about potential government surveillance, worries about tracking Americans' financial activity and what that means for individual privacy if the government issues the digital money itself.
Okay, so privacy is a big driver there. Yeah, from the industry side, you mentioned they've been frustrated with regulators like the SEC, accusing them of confusing rules, conflicting rules.
Yeah, stifling innovation is the common complaint.
So how might this legislative push, change their outlook?
Well, precisely. You had Jag Cooner, he's head of derivatives at the Bitfinex crypto exchange. He basically said, We expect capital that was previously sidelined due to regulatory uncertainty to re-enter, even if final passage stalls.
Interesting. So even the debate itself helps.
It seems so. The feeling is that the decisions this week, just the process, could make it much easier for companies to launch new digital asset products to trade crypto. It could potentially ease some of that tension between the industry and the regulators.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing, is it? Not everyone's on board with these bills.
Not at all.
We know Democrats are likely to offer amendments to the Genius and Clarity Acts. So what are the main criticisms? What are the counter-arguments we're hearing?
Right. Critics have definitely argued strongly that the Trump administration might be giving away too much to the crypto industry. We heard this very directly from Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren. This was back on July 9th at a Senate Banking Committee hearing. She actually said she's concerned what my Republican colleagues are aiming for is another industry handout. Pretty blunt.
Yeah, that's direct. Does she have specifics?
Oh, yeah. She urged Congress to do several things. First, bar public officials, and she specifically included Trump, from issuing, backing, or profiting from crypto tokens. She also warned that any new crypto rules shouldn't open a back door to destroy the long-standing securities laws we already have,
Okay.
or allow the volatility you see in crypto to spill over and destabilize the traditional financial system.
Makes sense. Protecting the broader system.
And finally, she really hammered the need for anti-money laundering rules, AML, to apply fully to the industry. She pointed out how those alphanumeric wallet addresses can let bad actors hide where illicit money comes from.
Right, the anonymity factor.
Exactly. And these aren't just, small tweaks she's asking for. They really get to the heart of that fundamental debate. How do you encourage new tech while still protecting the financial system and stopping crime?
That's definitely the core tension. And her stance, it really contrasts with the Biden administration's approach, right? They were generally tougher, aiming to regulate digital assets more like securities, like stocks and bonds.
Very different approach, yeah.
Okay, let's pivot a bit now to the political angle. What does all this mean for former President Trump's interest in crypto? Because he went from being a skeptic to a really major promoter during his campaign last year.
He really did.
He even became the first major party presidential candidate to accept campaign donations in crypto. That felt like a big shift.
It was. And you have to understand the financial influence that's kind of swirling around this. In the 2024 campaign, crypto insiders spent, nearly $250 million. That's according to FEC data.
Wow. $250 million.
Yeah. And it wasn't just random spending. It was very targeted.
Yeah.
Supporting crypto allies, trying to push out antagonists. That level of spending, it really shows how invested the industry is in shaping policy outcomes.
And Trump himself, he made some pretty bold promises, didn't he? Like back in March, he said he'd create a crypto reserve with 5 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin.
And he added he'd make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Big statements.
Very big. Now, this stance, it has raised some questions, hasn't it, about potential conflicts of interest?
It absolutely has. I mean, we've seen his family business launch several crypto meme coins, things like Trump and Melania. Plus, there's World Liberty Financial. That's a crypto group backed by Trump and his sons in 2024. Reports say it's earned the president around $57 million.
$57 million.
Yeah. And then just this month, July, Trump Media and Technology Group, his media company, filed paperwork with the SEC. They want approval to launch their own crypto blue chip ETF.
ETF, exchange traded fund, like a basket of assets.
Exactly. A fund holding Bitcoin and other digital currencies, but it trades like a stock. So yeah, when you have the person setting policy also having these kinds of direct and indirect financial ties.
It naturally leads to scrutiny.
It naturally does.
So, okay, given all this political movement, the industry push, the market reaction, you might be wondering, how has Bitcoin actually done since Trump's re-election?
Good question.
The numbers are pretty striking. Since the re-election in November 2024, Bitcoin has surged by 75%.
Wow.
It went from about $69,539 on election day close up to this current record level we talked about. And it first crossed $100,000 back in December last year.
It's fascinating just to think about the sheer scale of that. I mean, if Bitcoin were a country,
Yeah.
its market cap would put it in the top 10 by GDP, roughly on par with, say, Brazil or Canada.
That puts it in perspective.
It really does. And Bitcoin's also shown, resilience alongside these fluctuations. It did dip briefly, remember, below $90,000 back on February 25th.
Yeah, what caused that?
That seemed to be market jitters around Trump announcing new tariffs hitting multiple countries and industries. But then it recovered pretty strongly after he made that crypto reserve announcement.
Interesting interplay there.
Definitely. And this resilience, it's also happening against a wider backdrop of, economic uncertainty.
Mm.
You've got the global turmoil from Trump's steep tariffs, which seem to be on again, off again sometimes,
Right.
plus the ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. Citibank analysts actually wrote that Bitcoin has shown resilience this year, rebounding in line with its macro exposures following tariff announcements.
So it's becoming more tied into those big global economic trends.
It certainly seems that way. It shows
Fair.
how these digital assets aren't just in their own little bubble anymore. They're increasingly intertwined with everything else.
So as this U.S. crypto week unfolds, it really feels like a critical moment, a turning point maybe, where this desperate need for regulatory clarity meets these powerful political interests, and the market is just reacting so dynamically.
Absolutely.
And you can really feel that tension, can't you, between the industry pushing hard for freedom, for innovation, and the critics calling for strong rules for consumer protection. It's a complex picture, a lot at stake.
It really is. Which brings us to, well, a crucial question maybe for you, the listener, to think about. As this U.S. Crypto Week wraps up, how might the decisions that get made, or maybe the decisions that don't get made during this really pivotal time, how might they ripple outwards? How could they influence the global adoption and the global regulation of digital currencies for years to come?